T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lugs.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yep. What? We're halfway through October? That means it's still Oktoberfest time all across the area. Fellas, I almost blew the punchline there. Nobody comes between me and a good time. All right, we just finished up NFL Week 6. I'm glad you liked that joke so much. No more undefeated teams in the NFL this season. Both the Niners and Eagles go down. But meanwhile, fellas, the Lions are saying, psst, leave us alone. We'll see you in January. So, Lugs, to kick it off, some divisions just tightened up a bit. So let's hear your thoughts on the week that was, Week 6.
I think it was a week of surprises for me. I mean, I was surprised at really how bad Buffalo played. I mean, they should have just, tore them up. I mean, you name it. The 49ers lose. It was just one of those kind of weeks. And the Bengals barely beat the Seahawks. It was one of those moments. But I have to give a shout out to the offensive lineman Pugh for the New York Giants, who in the opening announcements he said he came from his couch. Other guys came from their university or their high school, and he came from his couch. And he was 2 weeks ago. He literally was on his couch. He gets there.
That's good.
Plays well enough. I mean, they didn't obviously win the game, but he plays well enough. And then the guy gets injured, so he has to move from guard to tackle. And it was just one of those moments. I enjoyed several of the games, even though, there was not a whole lot of offense in many of them. What'd you see, Dog?
Man, that was we were all over the place. We're just bouncing around, ping ponging.
We're just doing that.
Yeah, I was going to start off with the main game that Lugs was talking about. Two things to remember on the Bills Giants. The first thing is Brian Daboll. He knows Josh Allen. He knows a lot of their offensive personnel. So he can give Wink Martindale the blueprint on these are all their weaknesses. This is how you exploit them. Like, take this away, take that away, take that away. Obviously he's fired up. He wants to beat the team, that he left, because, he's competitive. And the other thing is even though Buffalo is still one of the best teams in the league, and the Giants, with all their injuries and some other shenanigans, are one of the worst, there's still only 32 teams. And at any point, the worst team can sneak up and bite one of the better teams. We saw it a few weeks ago in the Cardinals beating the Dallas Cowboys. So
on any given Sunday, huh? Yep.
Well, I just want to say, I think my main takeaway from that game is I was just, again, I know he's never going to be a long-term starter. Tyrod played pretty okay. I mean, he kept him in that game. So, but Tyrod, he's never going to be a long-term starter again. I don't even think he's going to be a bridge for like a rookie quarterback, because everyone's so quick to want to start rookie quarterbacks now, which I get to some extent, but that the Tyrod could come in and, actually to some degree play better than Daniel Jones has shown at any point this year. Gave them life, and, it stinks for Buffalo. And, after coming off that loss to the Jaguars and losing Matt Milano and losing their D tackle, and, 2 weeks before that, losing Travion White, there are things still to worry about legitimately about Buffalo Bills, but they won. they're gonna play better in next week or the next few weeks. I think they're gonna right this ship. They're not gonna play someone who knows all the inner workings of a lot of their player personnel, so they'll be fine. I think like one of the main games that really kind of stood out to me was the basically the Houston Texans get to 3-3, and again, I know it's not a sexy game, but give credit where credit's due. The pick of C.J. Stroud and the hiring of D'Amico Ryans. I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to make the playoffs, but even though the Jaguars have strung off a few wins, I mean, would you all agree that it's not improbable that the Texans can't win the AFC South, particularly with Anthony Richardson probably being done for the year.
He is. He just confirmed. He is out.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the Titans being whatever the hell the Titans are going to be the rest of the year. The Texans did beat them earlier in the year, the Jaguars. So, I just think, with how C.J. Stroud has played and, with their defense, the Willie Anderson has been a big get for them. The crazy thing is Stingley, their best corner, he has missed most of the year. So as good as their defense has kind of played at points this year, I think they'll be even better once they get him back. So I think my main takeaway is that. And, on the other South, the NFC South, the Saints don't have to worry. No one's really pulling themselves away from the pack of the Bucks, the New Orleans Saints, and Atlanta. But, Derek Carr, he's been okay at times, but I'm not saying the Raiders were right for getting rid of him, but you could see why maybe they hauled on him. I definitely don't think Garoppolo is an upgrade, but
well, he had to throw 50 times in that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had 353 yards, but you're throwing 50 times. I mean, he has some receivers. I was just down on their defense. Right off the bat, I got to say, C.J. Stroud at this point is the offensive rookie of the year. It has to be, because he's playing way above anybody else that came in with him.
Well, and sadly, Richardson being gone, that's such a bummer. You hate to see a guy out for the season in his rookie year because that'll just cloud his future significantly. So, but confirmed, shoulder surgery out.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things, I love those oddity moments in football. Caleb Williams is now saying that whoever gets him, he wants to own part of the team. So at this point, he would own part of the Chicago Bears. What's going on with Bear fans? Are they going to go for this?
I could be wrong. I believe there was a ruling. I don't know why he's even saying that. I think they heard that noise or they saw that smoke.
Shut it down.
One of the owners meetings, I believe, in the off season, they ruled that's not possible. You can't own equity in a team if you're an active player. So
who says his dad couldn't?
Well, I'm just saying he can flap his gums about wanting to own a part of a team. That's fine. He can do that after he's done playing.
According to our crack research department, active players are not allowed to own any part of the team.
Yeah, because that was one of the things when people brought up Tom Brady.
And no owner can play as well.
once Tom Brady talked about it, and I believe got involved in the Raiders, anyone who's like, well, Tom Brady come back. No, he's done. The owners, right. I believe almost all the owners unanimously have to be okay with a person coming back, and they're not going to be okay with Tom Brady coming back. Even though he'd be 46 years old, they would not be okay.
So likewise, Robert Kraft can't strap on a helmet and jump in the huddle. So that's a good thing, probably.
And speaking of Robert Kraft,
sure.
What happens to the hoodie? I say this is his last season.
They'll come to an agreement and split ways. I think you're right. It won't be a ugliness. It'll be a mutual separation.
Yeah, because I mean, he has obviously contributed greatly to the NFL.
Oh my.
Legendary.
Legendary.
With all those championships.
Yep.
Now you can say that, it was because of Brady, but the hoodie, the time has passed him. It really has.
Well, but
you got to be an offensive-minded coach now.
And you're no doubt.
He has no sense of offense.
The eyeballs that he brought to television sets and all those Super Bowls, all those playoffs where people wanted to see Brady and the surrounding cast. Oh, he brought billions of dollars to the league. No question. You're right. You're absolutely right. So it'll be a nice separation package. He might get a 16-foot, outboard boat or something that you'd see on The Price is Right just to go away. I don't know, something like that.
Again,
fishing boat, maybe.
I know I'm probably being Switzerland. I will talk about the thing that's happening right now. I don't know. I might be Switzerland on this. Tom Brady and Belichick made each other. It was a symbiotic, fortuitous. They would not be where they are without the one or the other.
I agree with that.
So Brady would have been good, but I don't think he wins 6 championships. Belichick wouldn't have won 6 championships without him. Brady did a lot of the carrying the water on the back end of those 3 championships. Brady was somewhat of a slightly above game manager for the first 3 championships. So
True.
they kind of helped each other on that. And he is one of the best coaches. Yes, as a head coach, 6 championships. As a defensive coordinator, he won 2 championships with the Giants. His playbook for the Buffalo Bills, where they had a backup quarterback, it is the playbook. The defensive playbook is in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best coaches. That being said, as great coach as he has been, as a player personnel, particularly these last, it might be the last 7 years. You look at their roster. And to be fair, on defense still, he has an eye. They have a lot of guys. Unfortunately, they've gotten injured a lot on that. But on that offensive side, guys, Ramondre Stevenson has been worrisome this year, but at least he showed juice last year. Outside of him this last 2 years, who you get excited for? Devontae.
This past season, I was just going to say, or this past draft, what did they get? 3 guards and 2 kickers. It was like, get a receiver, get a running back.
Yeah.
One other high draft picks last year out of Baylor, Tyquan Thornton, who is fast, which is a huge missing attribute. You watch Miami Dolphins, it's just a bunch of Corvettes going up and down the field, up and down the field, up and down the field. This is like a bunch of smart cars that just kind of Peter. And then once they get to 55, that's where they stop. Kendrick Bourne, again, he's a solid hand. I'm not taking anything away from him. He's their number 1 receiver. He'd be a 3rd receiver at best on a lot of top end offense.
Yeah.
So, and again, like I said, I know that still comes off as a diss. It's not. He could still play in the league for multiple years, but he should not be your number 1 target.
Well, the thing that decided it for me with Belichick was you keep Devontae Parker and you let go of Jacoby Meyer. And Jacoby Meyer is showing star flashes at the Raiders. And Devontae Parker can't separate from anybody.
Actually, Lugs nailed it. They gave more money to Juju Smith-Schuster, who played well for the Chiefs, but when you look at who's throwing him the ball in Patrick Mahomes, for you just to do well, probably indicates to you, subtract 250 yards and maybe 2 touchdowns from whatever you did there. And, he even last year, he was playing in and out with a bad knee, which is still bothering him at this point. Where Jacoby Myers, obviously, he had that big brain fart last year where he lateraled it to Chandler Jones and the Raiders won. I don't know if they held that against them, but that's a double whammy against New England because, to be fair to Lugs' point, Jacoby Myers is one of the top 20 wide receivers this year, at least the way he's playing. So, yeah, they needed one guy on the perimeter, and Jacoby Myers would have been that. And the unfortunate thing is like, when are they going to bench Mac Jones? Where are they going to go? I mean, Bailey Zappi, they cut,
Yep.
During preseason, and they allowed him to be out there for a while to retain. So obviously they don't have a lot of faith in Bailey Zappi. And I know local guy, Malik Cunningham, they'll kind of maybe insert him to run the ball and whatnot. But it's like, I think even we all agree, like, I think he was probably open to playing other positions. It wasn't like a Lamar situation where, and obviously Lamar was way more established. So I'm not saying it's the same, but and then they talked about Will Greer. Will Greer's been in the league for a few years. Again, great college quarterback, but like he's not gonna be anything. So it's like, as bad as this Mac Jones thing is, they don't have any options unless they're willing to trade some draft capital for I don't know who at this point.
Well, those receivers are a lot like that Yugo that Luggs used to have. Look,
it's good. They're good as long as it's all downhill and they can build some momentum. But I was just going to say, another pickup of the week for me was P.J. Walker at the Browns.
Yeah.
Man, come on, my man. He was, XFL, whatever it was.
USFL,
now,
baby.
I was like, wow, there's my man, P.J. Walker,
Is that, will he make him pay? Is that the guy? P.J. Walker, he'll make him pay. And I want to mention, you mentioned letting people go, wide receivers who can't run. Did you know this? With 163 yards against the Panthers, Tyreek Hill just became the first player in NFL history to record 4 games of 150 yards or more in the first 6 weeks. So you're Kansas City, you're going, what the? And you're Miami, and you're saying, we're going. I think Miami's going, guys. They're going to be the ones to watch. But Hill, he's something else.
Well, and Waddle, I mean, as far as offensive setup, they've got as many good receivers as I've ever seen on a team, really. And, as long as Tua's upright and he's not going because he just took a big old whack, then I think they got a shot. Their defense is suspect, but as long as they can score 45 points, they're going to be in it.
Yeah, I think we can all agree. I'm not saying they're completely the team to beat, but Miami's definitely in the top tier, and just because of how explosive their offense is. And I agree with Luggs. Their defense isn't where it should be, but it sounds like maybe late November they'll get Jalen Ramsey back. They've been missing their best pass rusher, Phillips. He's missed a big section of the year this year, so like they'll get him back at some point. And those two things in terms of good coverage. Again, I don't know if the Jalen Ramsey of old exists anymore, but I still think he's a good player. And I think Jalen Phillips, hopefully he can get healthy. If he does, like they have a premier pass rusher to really help make that defense click. But to kind of go back to what J-Boy says, I mean, how Tyreek is getting open again. It's the perfect combination of talent and scheme, where he's just running free on a lot of these throws. And Tua, his best attribute is just how quickly he recognizes, when to throw the ball, even if a guy's not wide open. And he doesn't have to worry about that with Tyreek. Tyreek's wide open within like the first 3 seconds of his route. So, you also look at just what Raheem Mostert is doing. Like, listen, Raheem Mostert has been a journeyman for most of his career. He's 31 years old. Think about how a lot of these guys who are good running backs, who are like maybe 26 or 27, everyone's like, you're done, you're chewed up. Here's a guy who's been on, I think, at least 6 teams, and Raheem Mostert is 31 years old. He has 11 touchdowns through 6 games. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, and
he's doing a little bit of work.
And that's the thing.
He's carrying water. He's carrying water.
And again, I know the Panthers aren't great, but still they put up 42 points, and that is without Devon Achane, who's on IR, short-term IR, so he's going to miss at least another 3 games. But Jeff Wilson might be added to the active roster in this week or probably maybe next week. So they're getting another like fast, capable running back. And again, you look at Jalen Waddle's numbers. It's not that he was coming through with an injury, I believe an oblique injury early on in the season, and he hasn't maybe worked into the production he was getting last year. So, I mean, that's the thing that's scary is they're not – I don't even know if they're firing on all cylinders.
Right.
So that's what makes the Dolphins scary to me. And
one of the other games that I loved was the Jets-Eagles. Just the Jets, no offense whatsoever. That defense kept them in it. I mean, absolutely. And, you know, they got lucky on a couple of those plays there at the end. But I'll give it to them. They fought hard. They fought real hard. I was impressed by those guys, the defense. Zach Wilson is Zach Wilson. I think if and it's a big if Rodgers were there, they might have a shot because he could get the ball. Zach Wilson kind of is like me throwing the ball. You know, it's kind of, I'm going to push it out there, sort of. Whereas Rodgers hauls off and just zips that sucker.
I don't know, dude. I saw you in the dorm rec league, back in the day, and that you had a little whippet noodle there. You could kind of do that, slingshot.
But that was Nerf. That was Nerf.
Oh, see, my bad.
I can whistle a Nerf ball now.
My bad. I missed that. I missed the composite of the ball. Sorry. Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson probably never lives up to his draft status. But again, this is the one problem with how quick we are to turn people around. He's playing better this year. He is playing better. Again,
okay.
I know. It's
better.
It's not where you want to be.
But let's admit,
I'm thinking he started pretty low, and now he's come up a couple of notches.
Again, let's give props to the Eagles. I mean, they're missing some key components on defense, but they're still not like a bad defense. I mean,
they've not hit their stride at all, and have still won most of their games.
And I know none of us still are probably fans of their offensive coordinator for the Jets, but still, it is very difficult. The tightrope for Zach Wilson is the problem they did last year with him is they try to kiddie-proof the offense so much and put training wheels on. Defenses in the NFL are too smart. When you do that, when you completely nerf your offense, if you're we'll cut the field in half and only have them read half the field. The defenses recognize that, so they know they don't even have to cover the second half of the field. They'll know not to even waste time to cover the second half of the field. They'll just flood the side where they know that he's probably the quarterback's gonna throw to. So you have to. I know you can't be super aggressive because you don't think Zach Wilson could do the 400 level stuff that clearly Aaron Rodgers was going to be able to step in and do, right? But you can't do the 100 level stuff. You have to give him some 200 level class stuff.
In the lecture hall, or is this smaller group? You're talking like the 12-person classroom, right?
Well, obviously 11-person.
Wow. Yeah, wow. Stepped into that. Thanks.
Yeah. But like Breece Hall, 2 weeks ago, Saleh said, we're taking the kiddie wheels off him, and he exploded against the Broncos, albeit, but still, and he played well, against a tough Eagles front, and after the bye, they get the Giants. So, like we talked about before the season, their early schedule was rough, right? They finished with 3-3, which is not maybe where you want to be. But when you look at if you really look at the rest of their schedule, that's great. Like they're still in it, even with Zach Wilson. And, as much as Aaron Rodgers wants to throw the football without a crutch beforehand, he's not coming back early. Or
no way. I was just going to ask. No way.
Someone needs to step in and tell him, look, we know you love the spotlight, but please stop.
Is he pouring that tea on that opened, sutures there on that? Yeah.
Well, he needs to, if he wants to try to come back this year, he needs to just spend a month in Germany and get the
the
stem
infusion.
cell. Yeah, and blood infusion. So
Yeah,
like,
who got
maybe
that
then,
again? Who famously got that? Kept going over there for
Kobe.
Kobe,
Right?
Kobe.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and maybe go the Ray Lewis route too. And what was it? Was it deer urine that they nicked him on in terms of? But anyway, it doesn't matter. But like, yeah, their defense is good enough. And Brees Hall can really, and as long as Zach Wilson can be competent, I'll agree with you, Lux. Like, they still need to look for a quarterback in the offseason. They should have had someone else besides Zach Wilson be the backup, but at least he's playing competent. And and again, the crazy thing for as great as the Jets defense, they didn't even have Sauce Gardner in that game. So they'll be better coming out of this bye, I think, too. So yeah, the Jets are still in the mix.
I was just going to say, hot seat, Staley, Chargers, sizzle.
It's getting warm, isn't it?
I mean, come on, how much more can you ask of Herbert? You gotta. And I thought Kellen Moore, knowing the Cowboys, I mean, he has to know their offense inside out, their defense inside out. I thought they'd do better. But Herbert was running for his life the whole time. They've got to shore up that offensive line.
And for my money, Herbert will become the Matt Ryan of the modern day. He'll kind of get close. He'll be a good player. Never win the big one. Sad for us.
I think he's right where he needs to be Phillip Rivers number 2.
Even better. Yes.
I want to say, if we're going with one of the two, I like J Boys a little bit better, just because temperament wise, Justin Herbert is very similar to Matt Ryan, where I'm not saying he doesn't get fiery and like just crazy.
Phillip Rivers has 12 or 15 kids, and so he has to crack the whip occasionally. So.
Yeah, maybe.
Is he coming back to the Colts, by the way?
No, man.
No.
Jeff George is. Jeff George is coming back.
Jeff George is coming back.
Peyton is. Peyton's coming back.
Loosen it up, baby. Loosen that baby up.
Yeah, I guess to be an apologist for the Chargers, Austin Eckler is his first game back after being off for so long. I think their offensive line is fine. It's mainly they're playing one of the best, pass rushing defenses. And Herbert, he had injuries. I know, albeit to not his throwing hand, but still, like, I think the injuries probably did affect him to some extent.
Yeah, he missed a couple of big throws.
Yeah, so I think he's not quite right. I mean, but that was last year too with his rib injury. He played, he got it out through a rib injury, and as great as Keenan Allen is, and I think we all think he's a good. He is a very savvy, very crafty. I think you all know where I'm going with this. He doesn't have like game breaker ability. He's not like A.J. Brown. Going back to the game we were talking about before. A.J. Brown can catch a ball and take it like 30 yards after the catch. That's not what Keenan Allen does. Keenan Allen beats you with his quickness and route running, and then he maybe gets a few yards and gets tackled. He's not taking one to the house for the most part.
He beats you with his brain.
And unfortunately, even though this guy wasn't like tremendously fast because of how big a target he was, Mike Williams was really important to their offense because it opened up the short and intermediate routes for Keenan Allen and Josh Palmer's of the world, and even Austin Eckler's. Without him, they don't really have a field stretcher. They want their rookie Quentin Johnston to be that guy, but I think he's just so raw that he has not done anything through 6 games. So like that has really hurt them. But I will agree with you. Their coach definitely should be on the hot seat because still this is a very talented team. And, I'm not going to completely wash it away because how hard we are on Mike McCarthy, and he deserves it when his offense needs to step up, which they still did not step up in this game. They played okay. They played all right. Dak
had that one out of the pocket pass that I thought that's old Dak, but he only had the one.
And like I said, that's the thing is like you can't be seen as this defensive mastermind. Who got that's the reason why he got the Chargers job, and continually lose these tight games like this. Like you're supposed to come up with, and again, Dallas's offense is scheme wise. We talked about Mike McDaniels earlier, like about the Dolphins. His offense is like set in 1999, Mike McCarthy. So like this should not be that hard to figure out how to stop. I don't know.
He's still holding on to those Twinkies from 1989, I think, because they don't age, right? Those things, lugs, shelf life.
Oh, yeah.
You'll always take it personal, Mike McCarthy. I'm not going that route. I'm not going that route.
You're keeping it high.
I'm at least going to take shots at him as a coach. I'm not going to take shots at the man.
He's got stock in Little Debbie. You know this.
I'm not going there. You all can pick the next game. I'm not.
Well, how about we do a little Lugs? You got that Sports of YY yesteryear queued up, ready to go?
Yeah. Yes, sir. We can go.
Let's get that knocked out. There we go. Here we go. This is the big moment you've been waiting for. It's Sports of yesteryear with Lugs out in the field in his 62 Ford Thunderbird. That was a classic. He's still got one. Here he comes now. Lugs, take it away.
All right, 1902, 7th Iron Bowl. Auburn beats Alabama 23-zip in Birmingham. 1924, Harold Red Grange completes his finest collegiate football game with 4 long TD runs totaling an incredible 262 yards in just 12 minutes against the Michigan Wolverines. 1953, listen to this name. Willie Thrower becomes the first black NFL quarterback in the modern era. 1992, Philadelphia Eagle Randall Cunningham sets NFL quarterback scramble record of 3,683 yards. 2009, talking to the GOAT now, quarterback Tom Brady throws 5 second-quarter touchdowns against the Tennessee Titans. That's an NFL record as well for touchdown passes in 1 quarter. That's it for this edition of Sports of Yesteryear.
Yes, sir. Randall Cunningham. I always thought he was fantastic. Had that, remember late in his career, had that season with the Vikings that went 15-1. And they lost yet again in the first round of the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, T-Dog? You remember that?
Yes.
Anyway. Wow. Willie Thrower. Lugs, what year was that?
1953.
Wow, nice. Very nice. Okay, I have one question for you boys, and then we'll get back to the games. Which 3-3 team has the best chance to make the playoffs from the AFC? We talked about this a minute ago. Colts, Texans, Jets, Raiders, Bengals. Top of mind?
I think this is no question for me. I'll let you go first, though, Lux.
I was just going to say Bengals will definitely be there, and Texans could sneak in.
Colts, no way, right? You're going to rule them out because of Richardson being out. Mm-hmm. Jets, you talked about them. What do you say, T-Dog?
I mean, I honestly think the Jets can make it. Again, there are now 3 wild card spots, so it's not improbable for them to get to get 3 teams in. So, and
you mentioned the Texans, like them too.
The Texans.
CJ,
I don't even think they might get in as a wild card. I think they could win the division because they tub thumped. Again, Jaguars currently have the overall best record in the South, but if you remember a few weeks ago, Houston tub thumped the Jaguars. So, it sounds like he's going to play this Thursday. Trevor Lawrence, but if Trevor Lawrence's knee injury is more severe, New Orleans re-aggravates it even more. And I still think the absence of Zay Jones for most of this season has really hurt them. Again, kind of like a lesser Mike Williams. I think him taking the deep routes opens up the short and intermediate areas for Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley. It's funny, sometimes these guys maybe aren't big names, but they do contribute significantly to how making the offenses work optimally. So, yeah, the Colts and the Raiders, I'm not buying. I know they'll beat
no?
Chicago.
Yeah.
To next this upcoming Sunday, and they'll be 4-3, and Josh McDaniels can go to a Baskin Robbins and get 2 scoops of ice cream and be happy about himself. But at the end of the day, he's not a good coach. He's kind of like a baby Belichick in that his roster moves for the most part to me have not made a lot of sense. And they haven't gotten significantly better, and it's not going to end well for him, be it this year or next year.
But as Lee Corso says, not so fast, my friend. The Bears might beat on the arm of, I got to hold it up and look it up, Tyson Bagent?
Tyson
Badgett from Shepherd University. What'd the kid go? 12 for 18? He's the future. Lugs, he's the future. You can have your Justin Fields, man. Tyson Bagent. He's the guy from Shepherd, Division II. What do you say about that?
Justin Fields is going to get shunted off. They're going to go for Caleb. I mean, they've got the pick, so they're going to shunt Justin Fields off. They don't owe him anything. And they may get a second-round pick for him.
So what happens to him? Wow.
He ends up at Tennessee.
Why are you doing that to him? Don't do that. No, hey, let's go. Again, I like Justin Fields. I agree with both of you.
There you go, carrying that water again. Carrying that water, baby.
This is where I change at least with you all. I still like Justin Fields, but this is his last season with him. That being said, I want good things for the man. And again, you're going to hate me, J-Boy. Where I want him to get traded to is Atlanta. Because Desmond Ritter's not it either.
No, he's not. So, they're right. Every week it's a mystery with Desmond Ritter. Agreed.
And again, if you give Justin Fields, because again, obviously he has a lot more juice in his legs than Desmond Ritter. Justin Fields still needs to add elements to his passing technique and his ability to, I think, get rid of the ball quickly. Because to be fair to J-Boy's point, I know it was a very small sample size where people always complain about the offensive line. And look, I'm not carrying water for Luke Getsy. I'm not carrying water for definitely what I'm about to say. I'm not carrying water for Justin Fields. They both played behind the same line, albeit not the same amount of snaps. I believe Justin Fields was sacked 4 times on 14 dropbacks. I believe on 9, Tyson Bagent was sacked once. So basically what I'm trying to say is I don't think they let up in terms of like the amount of pressure they were sending. I just think Tyson Bagent, as a guy who played D2,
right?
Again, he definitely doesn't have some of the high end qualities of Justin Fields, and I'm not saying he's gonna have a better career than Justin Fields from here on out. I don't think that. That being said, he does have the attribute where he understands, like he has an internal clock. He knows I have this amount of time to get rid of the ball, and he gets rid of the ball. Where Justin Fields holds on to the ball too long. And
Justin Fields knows one read. He can't go to a second read ever.
I'm not saying he can't, but it's just his clock is not quick. I mean, again, is he physically more talented than Brock Purdy? Yeah, you just have to watch highlights to know that he's physically, in terms of physical attributes, more. But again, Brock Purdy gets the ball and the ball's out of his hands quickly. Again, Tua, maybe not the most physically gifted guy, but again, what's astounding about him is he snaps the ball, he gets in the third step of his drop, and the ball's out of his hands. Like there is quick processing going on all the time.
I was going to say that, like Tom Brady, I think Tom Brady knew where the spot was before the ball was snapped. I think Tua has some of that, honestly.
So did Peyton. You watch Peyton.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Hell, Peyton, man, he was like directing the defense. It was fun to watch him.
Omaha! But wait a minute. Go back to this Bagent kid, Tyson Bagent. Yeah, Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, dog. He played against Shippensburg. Yeah, he played Shepherd, but he played Slippery Rock. Lugs, he played Slippery Rock.
Slippery Rock State?
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah, and
Well,
he played.
You got to give it to him.
He didn't play
It's kinda
Seton
like
Hall.
P.J. Walker,
He didn't play
except
Seton Hall. He played Seton Hill.
Well, funny enough,
I love
he
it.
Actually,
Let's go.
He actually beat out PJ Walker for that backup
Right.
Bears job. They actually paid him, I believe, PJ Walker like $2 million in the offseason, and they just ate it because Tyson Badgett was too good during spring, summer camp. And and then in the preseason.
Did you see him in the presser after the game? He looks like a hockey player. He's got the mullet and he wears the cap backwards. And he says, "Well, I'm a professional quarterback. That's my job." I mean, he was just like rifling the questions and the answers right back at the guys. I mean, like, what? He looks like I like it. I like it.
Wait a minute, Lugs. Did you hear this? Like, this man was talking about me. This man was talking about me carrying water for Justin Fields. Tyson Badgett has a strip sack taken back for a touchdown, throws one of the worst interceptions. And again, I don't dislike Tyson Badgett, but you're like me, like, I love this kid. It's like, I mean, again, let's go back to kind of what Lugs was saying. Let's just take comfort in they should get Caleb Williams or Drake May or one of these top tier quarterbacks.
And Tyson,
luckily, at the end of this year. But I don't know. Look, hopefully Tyson Badgett can be a very great backup for the Bears.
Plus, he wears number 17. There's no great quarterback. There's no retired 17 that I can think of off. So that's already there for him. They've had 9 and 8 and 1 and 5 and all that crap.
Okay.
We're holding on to that.
Number 2, Arthur Smith will be
back.
great for Justin Fields in Atlanta. I agree with that. So, okay, Lugs, go ahead.
I can agree with that. I was just going to go back. Chicago, you get Caleb Williams.
Yep.
You got the number 2 pick. You go ahead and get Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
That's kind of like Burrow and Chase.
True. Plus, you got DJ Moore.
Rookie deals.
You got a good run game. They can run the ball. So, okay, I'm sold. Badgett, well, maybe we'll cut him. It'll be all right. We'll make it.
No,
Badgett's a perfect backup.
Yeah, let's keep him as a backup. You want that moxie in a backup. You want
he's a smart kid.
Yeah.
Well, his
Sharp
dad
haircut.
was a professional arm wrestler, right?
Who was?
Tyson Badgett. His father was a professional arm wrestler.
Wait a minute.
Where I think he gets a lot of that attitude from.
That's awesome. I got to look that one up. I'll get our crack team.
Another. That just made
crack team. I like it. That's
the tower.
This lore is building. Lore.
Sidebar.
He can own the team. Oh wait, you can't.
Sidebar very quickly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was at the World Arm Wrestling Championship in Petaluma, California.
Anybody break their arm?
You got to see some of those guys. It's like they'd have 3 beers and then go up there. I mean, to call it a professional sport, I don't know. But anyway, I digress.
All right, we got 30 or 39 minutes past the hour. Hit me with another game you want to fire on from Week 6 of the NFL.
Well, transitioning from a game where it was 2 NFC North teams that aren't going anywhere in the Bears and the Vikings, let me talk about the team that's tied for the best record in not only in the NFC, but also across they 5-1 Lions.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, is Tampa Bay a great team? No, but they were at least a team that were beating their opponents in front of them, which means at least you're not a bad team, I think. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a good team, but it means you're not bad. And they didn't have David Montgomery. David Montgomery early on, he only had 6 rushes for 14 yards and got injured. And, just like how they weathered the storm when Amon-Ra St. Brown missed a game, guess what? Everyone stepped up. And, Amon-Ra had a big game for 124 yards, a touchdown. Jamison Williams, their first-round pick from 2 years ago, who missed a lot of the year because of his ACL injury and then was suspended early on this year and it was reduced for gambling, comes in and catches a 45-yard, catch for a touchdown. And Laporta didn't have one of his bigger games, but, their rookie tight end Laporta clearly looks like one of the top 3 tight ends in the league right now after, Kelsey and Mark Andrews. So, they're rolling. And even more important, this Tampa team has been kind of frisky in terms of points. Lions put the clamps on them, and, they only had 6 points. And, they got, like 3 sacks. I believe they got an INT and, or no, I guess they didn't. But They had 5 tackles for loss, and hit the quarterback 3 times. So I mean, this is a very feisty Lions team, and just the main thing is their offensive line is keeping Jared Goff clean as a sheet. He's playing sensational. He's clearly not going to get the recognition he deserves for how he's playing as a top 10 quarterback this year. I mean, in a vacuum, is he that? I don't know, but the line has to do a lot. And then the defensive line is the main reason they're creating all this havoc on defense. So the Lions are going to be in the mix come January.
Well, the Packers, Bears, and Vikings are all done. They're through.
They're all toast.
So
Yes.
it's their division to win or lose, and they're going to win it. I'm with you on that completely. Let's coast it in, baby. Under the radar.
And J-Boy, and then I'll let Lugs, Lugs, I'll let you speak. You hit on the key thing that I didn't really think about. Because of how bad their division is, they have a real potential to obviously have the best record, and they can get that, a week 1 bye and have home field advantage. And history has shown that is a huge advantage to getting to the Super Bowl. So Detroit is quietly kind of in a driver's seat to possibly, get there. Finally.
Agree.
Yeah, it's only been since Barry Sanders, maybe.
What? Well, that's not even Super Bowl. Like, that's the last time they won a playoff game.
They before we were born.
It's like,
Yeah, they've never been to the Super Bowl.
No, they never.
right. They haven't been legitimate since Barry Sanders.
I mean, they've got the Vikings twice yet. They got the Bears twice yet. I mean, those are 4 wins right there. So that puts you immediately at 9-10 wins. I mean,
Yeah, and they'll take Green Bay for sure.
Right,
I don't know who else they have.
In some of these injuries with the 49ers, it feels like they might drop another 1 or 2 here, right? And
they got the Broncos and the Raiders. Those are 2 W's.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like I said,
Their tough games are they got the Cowboys and they've got, let's see. Well, Chargers could give them a fight, I guess. That's about it, though.
Yeah, definitely for the Dallas game, they need David Montgomery because I know they gave up decent draft capital for Jahmyr Gibbs, and I still think he can be a good player. Mm-hmm. That kind of glass-eating running back in David Montgomery, they need that guy because we saw with Arizona the way to beat Dallas is just to hammerhead them with a offensive line and just a thumper of a running back,
which they can.
Yeah, so
and that keeps Micah Parsons out of the backfield getting the quarterback, right?
Yeah,
right.
So
good.
The only question for me with the Vikings is where is Kirk Cousins going to go?
Okay, I heard this rumor. What do you think of this, T-Dog? Trade him to the Jets now, since your season's over. He can maybe get you a few W's with that good defense in New York, and now Kirk Cousins gets in the playoffs, wins a game.
Again,
I like it.
If there were rational thinking involved in owning and running teams,
you're saying
I would
there's
agree
not.
with you.
You're saying Woody's not brain.
No, I'm not even saying that. It comes down to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he was throwing the ball before the game without a crutch. Like, he's still getting a spotlight. You put Kirk Cousins there, he's completely, put in the dark room. Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to be willing to let that happen. Because again, I know how Lugs feels about Kirk Cousins, and maybe I don't think of him as affectionately as J-Boy does, but I still think he's a good quarterback. And regardless of what happens from here, Kirk Cousins is going to get a good contract with another team, regardless of what happens from here on out. So
I think legitimately he could go to the Titans next year.
Well, I would hope and pray for him not to go there because their line's still gonna be
He'll get killed.
Dog dude. Yeah, it's gonna be dog dude. There's no reason for that.
Be wearing 2 flak jackets.
Yeah, I don't care how much guaranteed money you give me. I don't know if I want to be, how much I can enjoy that if I'm eating all my food through my throat, like a hole in my throat.
I mean, we don't see many blockbuster trades mid-season. It would be kind of fun to see something like that just to see what happens.
Well, look, like I said, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think logically that makes most sense because again, you watch Garrett Wilson, and this goes back to at least giving credence to what Lug says on Zach Wilson. I mean, if you just watch isolation and how Garrett Wilson plays, it's not hard to imagine how great he was going to be this year with Aaron Rodgers. Like he would have by now. I'm not going to say he'd be rivaling Tyreek in receiving yards, but like he'd probably be close to 500 yards, 550 yards receiving, probably at this point. And that's not going to happen with Zach Wilson with his just off-target balls where, I think one of the touchdowns, I think it was week 1 against Buffalo, he batted the ball away from a DB and then volleyballed and caught it. Like he's having to do double work. He's having to do double work just to get catches. And, no, I'm with you. I think you nailed it, Jay Boy. I think that's the most logical place for him going. But unfortunately,
won't happen.
The bugaboo of Aaron Rodgers will not let that happen.
Ooh, that would be something. That'd be good drama.
Yeah.
All right, fellas.
And I got to
what
give
else?
credit to McVay at the Rams. To be as bad as they were, they're coming back. A little bit, it's impressive, and of course, it helps that our boy is healthy now and can throw the ball. But they've really managed offensive line fairly well, and defense is there's still moments where they're really tough. So I just wanted to give a shout out to McVay.
Yeah, no, just how they, he and his coaching staff keep unearthing talents. I thought it was bizarre, when they let Cam Akers go and they had Kyrie Williams, who they drafted, I believe, in the 3rd or 4th round from Notre Dame, be the running back. And I know he probably is going to miss the next game with an ankle injury. Like he had 158 yards rushing in this game, had a touchdown, and then to find Puka Nacua.
That's fine.
Out of nowhere, before Cooper Kupp came back, 2 weeks ago, and essentially, keep this team kind of afloat with Matthew Stafford and even Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell really stepped up before Cooper Kupp came back too, and just my goodness, guys. The main thing is too, like even though they lost last week, just watching Cooper Kupp in these first 2 games. To be fair to what Luggs said, this Rams team, maybe it doesn't make the playoffs, but they are going to be in the mix all the way up until late in December. Just the way they play, and as long as Stafford stays healthy and Cooper Kupp, like this team is going to be in every game they're involved in.
Good deal. All right, anything else you want to hit upon the big broadcast tonight on the 50,000 watt Clear Channel frequency here?
Is there anything you want to say, Luggs?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I'm going to machine gun these out as quick as possible. I just want to say, Kansas City Chiefs, I know he's a rookie. I know Andy Reid usually likes to slow roll his rookie wide receivers. Rashid Rice, if you watch him these last 2 weeks, this guy is playing too well to only be playing, I think, like a third of the snaps on offense. Have this man be a fool. Like, what are we doing? Like, this guy is actually showing the potential. I'm not saying to be a number 1, but like at least give a compliment to Travis Kelce, which they're dying to have. I mean, they traded for McCole Hartman, I believe, today just to get another guy who can kind of help them on offense. Just make Rashid Rice more a part of the offense. And I also want to say, kind of a bowl and shoe ugly game over in England with Baltimore Ravens I know Lamar statistically isn't having like what he had in 2019, but he's actually playing really well. It's just a shame that consistently it feels like someone put a curse on the Baltimore. They can always be good, but they can never have more than one good receiver. Zay Flowers, it shows potential, but Odell Beckham, I'm glad he got the bag, but Odell Beckham, hopefully he invests the money he got from this contract with the Ravens wisely, because I don't think he's getting another big contract at all. And I know we like to kill on Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones was correct last year where he's like, Odell's like, I'll sign there with you, but I'm not working out. But Jerry Jones is like, no, I want to see you at least work out before I give you $15 million. And also quietly, like we talked about the Bengals, I just want to say we saw it last week against Arizona. The old Joe Burrow of old looks like he's kind of back.
Yes, sir.
That defense completely stymied Geno. Geno taking sacks in the red zone, like just completely frozen by what Lou Amarino and those defenders are throwing out there. This Bengals team, I know they're 500. I know they're going on bye. They're not going to play this week. Watch out. Mm-hmm. That's all I got to say. Watch out.
All right, Lugs, you got anything else for the good people we call home here?
I could give them a recipe for blackberry pie, but that'll have to keep till next week.
Yeah, we're going to do that on the holiday issue of this program, I think. And in other words, that'll bring to a close this episode, number 188 of Sports and Other Stuff, brought to you in part by Rose Auto Sales. Highway 51 North. If there's stickers not on the back of your car, you probably paid too much. Stop in and ask for our guy. He's there tonight. His name is
Fish.
Yep.
And with the recent congressional hearings on UFOs, our man Fish was reminded that his elderly cousin Charlemagne was a guard at Area 51 in New Mexico when extraterrestrial remains were reportedly secreted on the base there. Charlemagne's wife, Gerda, said her husband claimed to have been part of the crew to unload the remains and afterward complained of what he called Roswell flu. Gerda says she doesn't know about that, but does relate that somewhere along the line, her dearly departed beau began looking like a basset hound with a bad ear job. So in honor of cousin Charlemagne, this Saturday at 1 p.m., Fish will host a UFO event headlined by Eric von Däniken, one of the forefathers of the ancient astronaut theory. Entry is $20 with proceeds going to the Cosmic Culture Center in Bethesda, Maryland.
Was that it? All right, so get your tickets.
We're off the air.
While they last. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. We'll see you next time, maybe. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.